Well, good morning. So at a place called Cherokee Flats, which is about 22 miles north of Pearisburg, gonna slack pack back to the Plaza Hotel. So this is a long stretch between here and Daleville. It's 93 miles. It's 65 miles from Pearisburg to a convenience store. So in order to break up that so you're not carrying 5 days of food out of town going up the hill, it's a 4,500 foot drop to this point. You try to slack pack. So slack packing, in case you didn't know, is just where you carry basically an empty pack. So all my junk is basically back at the hotel room waiting for me to come on back. So it's 8 a.m. I walk slack packs really fast. 22 miles, I'll probably be back at the hotel room by like 2 o'clock, 2:30. Yeah, it goes really, really fast. If you could just slack pack the entire trail, that would be nice. When my wife comes up in June, there'll be more of that. Packs are heavy things. So gonna walk back down to my hotel room, then come back here tomorrow and do then 45 miles or 43 miles to the convenience store. So I only need 2.25 days food from here out. And then once I get to the store, I'll load up again. So ideally I'll walk into the store with 0 food. And then it's only 27 miles to Daleville. So you see how it really breaks it up from that. So we're gonna walk on back and check it out. So if you take a look at the map between here and Daleville, the Appalachian Mountains are very ridged, like a set of waves. You can see how tectonic plates had been pushing on the mountains to form that. So there are various wave forms going north and south. The AT doesn't just go to the eastern one and go up. It goes up and then it goes down and rides these waves up and down. So they say that Virginia is flatter. And I think that's true because you do ride a lot more flat ridges, but you do go up and down to get to each one of those. And they're like 1,500 feet. Up and down. So when you look back at Georgia, there was very few flat spots for more than like 1/4 mile. So here there are flatter spots, but you have to still go up and down. So this is an example of walking up to acquire a ridge, and then I'll walk on that ridge for a long way back to Pearisburg shelter. So one thing YouTube videos don't show well is inclines. This may look flat on the video, but it's really about a 25-degree incline. So up on the ridge that leads to Pearisburg, now just ride it all the way down. So this is pretty much the view of the ridge. There's not much to show you, and yes, there is a view, but it really doesn't show up on camera. So on a bit of a bald, nice view. So there's Pearisburg going way back down there. That's where I'm going. It's the rice field shelter. Crossing the new river into Pearisburg. This is the AT. Big river. I'm listening to the Rocky Horror Picture Show in my earphones. Well, good morning. Back here at Cherokee Flats in the middle of nowhere, 30 miles out or 22 miles out. So gonna make the 73-mile trek north to Daleville. On the way, so there's 45 miles to get to the Catawba grocery store. So I got 2.5 days of food. And then you hit things like Dragon's Tooth and Mcafee Knob and Tinker Cliff. So it's a big part of the trail. So you got to get a picture of yourself on Mcafee Knob. I mean, that's non-negotiable. So it's a 1,300 foot climb today, and then you go down. Then so I'm gonna go up to the first ridge. There goes my driver from Angel's Rest, where he's based out of. And then go down and then go up and then go down again, and then I'll camp. So that's like 18 miles from here. So looks like the deepest, darkest jungle. And in you must go, Luke. One thing that the AT definitely has over the other two trails is the songbirds in the morning. There's just so many birds. I can remember lots of times on the other two trails, it would just be dead quiet, 0 birds. I can tell I'm the first one through here. Why? Because I'm breaking cobwebs. It's a lovely part of the trail that overnight spiders farm their little cobwebs across the trail. So passing Bailey Gap Shelter. Well, so I'm up on top of the first ridge. So 1 down, 1 to go. And you can see the condition of the trail. Pure rocks. So I stay on this ridge for about 4.5 miles. So you can see that Virginia is flatter, but you have to climb up to the flatness. But once you're up on top, it's different than Georgia. Georgia, again, you'd probably only go 1/4 mile before it dropped back down or went up to another hill, or this stays pretty flat. So I'm leaving this ridge, and I think I'm going over to this little notch here. So you go down the valley and then up to this notch. I'm not going to go that way on the ridge. You just go over and go down into the next valley, and that's where I'll camp. Coming up on War Spur Shelter. Nice. Boy, nice place to camp. Room for 100 tents. Almost down to the Highway 632. A nice smooth trail on flat ground. Heavenly. There's 632. Some like forestry truck, I guess. No trail magic. All right, last climb of the day. Coming to the top of that climb. Man, that was pretty steep. 1,700 feet over 2.6 miles. Took me about 1 hour and 20 minutes. Pretty steep. Lots of campsites. So now downhill about 5 miles to my campsite for the day. Call it a day. In a little mountain laurel forest. So coming up on Highway 42, goes across this vast pasture land. Came from up on that hill. So I was about to go to my tent site, and this lady comes up and goes, "Hey, I'm a trail angel. Just want a tent over at my house?" And it's like maybe a block from the trail. I'm going, sure. Yeah. So long story short, I guess she does this a lot for people. She lives right on the trail. So I have beer, which I didn't think I would be getting anytime soon, and a roof over my head for the night. So life is good. Good night. Well, good morning. It's been a very nice night at the Trail Angels house. Thank you again. That was fantastic. Today, going to walk about 1,300 feet up to a ridge, do about 5 miles on that ridge, so it's a pretty flat walk. And once you get up there, down to the valley, just like yesterday, then up to another ridge, walk on that ridge about 3 or 4 miles. So it's going to be about an 18-mile day, I guess. The weather's kind of falling apart, so it's supposed to be a couple days of just scattered rain. Nothing much, 10%, 20%, 50%, 20%. So clouds come and go. So let's go climb this 1,300-foot climb and then take it from there. So this is what's called a Keffer Oak. It's supposed to be the biggest oak tree in Virginia. Very impressive. Okay, up on the ridge. It's raining pretty steadily now. So about 5 miles before you drop off this ridge into the next valley to go east to the next ridge. So the eastern continental divide, so everything east of here goes to the Atlantic and everything west goes to the Gulf of Mexico. So no views to show you. These rocks are so dangerous. So leaving this blasted ridge and heading down towards the highway, man, that was a hairy ridge. All the rocks are these huge flat boulders like I showed. Your shoes are covered with sand, mud, and water. The rocks are covered with sand, mud, and water. There's no good place to really put your pole because the rocks are smooth. And yes, I did slip and fall. Came right down on my shoulder. It's okay. And just skinned up my arm. But I seem to be walking okay. At least I didn't hurt my knees or my feet. My hip's a little bit sore, but but considering how hard that I came down on that, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's one of those days where I just don't want to be here. Coming up on the day shelter, I'm going to use this as an opportunity to have second breakfast and regroup. So I had breakfast, and in the meantime, it's kind of cleared up a little. Birds are chirping. Coming up on Highway 621. Now do another 1,500-foot climb up to the next ridge. Impressive bridge. Wow. That's a pretty real river too. Okay, up on top of the second ridge for the day, and there's a park bench. Cool. I think I'll try it out. I love old abandoned forest roads, which is so nice walking. So I guess this is where Audie Murphy died in a plane crash. I didn't know how he died, but in 2 benches. But I guess he did die here. Wow. These little lizards are just amazing. So little. It looks like a just plastic. What a difference our ridge makes. This ridge, great. The ridge this morning, crapola. So crossing the highway and Trail Magic, giving out beers. I'll take one. Thank you. Yes, thank you very much. Very appreciated. So about 1 more mile. So getting water for the night. Got to have water for the just freeze-dried food for dinner. Got to have water for the food that are for me overnight, because I usually wake up at 2 a.m. and am thirsty. And then got to have enough water to get to the next water spot. And of course the backpack feels like it weighs like 50 pounds with 2 liters. On the CDT I carry 2 all the time, and I never even thought about it. Now, well, you just get used to a lighter pack. So got to the shelter, and there's like 7 people jammed inside. And truth be told, there really probably could fit 9, but you know, people don't want to move over their stuff to let a new person in. It's kind of like human nature. It's funny. Anyway, in my tent and listening to the rainfall. Gotta love this stuff, you know. So I'll just show you around. My junk drawer, little jack. That makes every cold, wet, rainy night better. Food bag, I'll take care of that later. All of my junk hanging from the ceiling in a desperate attempt to try to dry it out. So that's all for today. Driving my shoulder into a rock 20 miles later. Good night. Well, good morning. So rained all last night. Just camped above this pickle shelter. So gonna do only a 13-mile day today to Highway 311, where I'm gonna camp there. Get to go to the store today. Yay! Let's do this. Mile 700. So it feels like years ago that I left Amicalola, but in reality it was only 7 weeks ago. So 700 miles in 7 weeks, I guess the math's pretty easy. 100 miles per week. Well, here's a bit of a view. Boy, the forest has really filled in, hasn't it? It's green now. Coming up on Dragon's Tooth. Point 2 this way. So I guess it's like a big jagged rock formation. Okay, so they say going down from here is strenuous. The problem is always that the bottom of my shoes are covered with water, sand, and mud. The rocks are still kind of wet, and they're covered with sand and mud, which makes for very slippery. Even rocks you think wouldn't be are slippery. Just a little drop off here. Let me see, put my foot right there. Oh, my first rebar, nice. Yeah, man, they were serious. So further down the trail it becomes more reasonable. Now onward to the grocery store. Coming up on the Catawba grocery / gas station. This is a store. I pretty much have everything that you would want. So I'm stopping 0.3 miles away from Highway 311. Gonna stay here for the night. It's got a nice little view. Tents all set up. Great. It's supposed to rain hard here in about an hour, so I made it before the rains. Woohoo! Good night. Well, good morning. So here at the route Highway 311, gonna hike up to the famous Mcafee Knob, then Tinker Cliffs, and then down to Daleville. Beautiful day. Didn't rain last night. Amazing. There was a dog barking the entire night down in the valley, and I swear it's probably a mile or two away. You can hear every bark. Anyway, so gonna go up to Mcafee Knob first, and then get the famous picture. You gotta have one of those. And then head to Daleville at the Super 8. So that's my shuttle driver, Homer. I'll leave his phone number below. So I got this idea of just shuttling my main backpack from one of the other shuttle drivers leaving Pearisburg. he was saying it's a popular thing to do, and just Homer is the man to do it. So I'm glad to have that opportunity. Well, it's a busy road. You take your life in your hand crossing it. Very well-used trail by locals and tourists. Looks like Mcafee Knob. Wow, that's impressive.
Cool with the clouds.
Yeah, that's amazing. Wow. Long way down. So leaving Mcafee Knob, I've got to admit that was a lot more impressive than I thought it was going to be. Incredible view. It's a lot higher off the ground than I thought it was from the millions of pictures of it. So 5 miles to Tinker Cliffs and then into Daleville. See the same kind of rocks on a dry day, much different. So 2 days later, my shoulder is doing good. There's kind of a lump under my deltoid, but it's fully functional, so that's all that matters. And no other injuries. I'll try not to do that again. Getting near Tinker Cliffs. Boy, nice place to have lunch, huh? Or to get out of the rain. I don't know if this is the cliff or not, but looks like it has a nice view. A big old crow that's just raising a fuss. What? Beautiful day. Another view from a bit down the trail. Well, I thought the climb both up to here and to Mcafee Knob were pretty reasonable. They weren't like the backside of a dragon tooth. So about 10 miles, 11 miles down to Daleville, and it's all downhill. And so turn the corner and turn on the gas here. Another little view. About 5 miles to Daleville. Boy, let me tell you, this has been the nicest, like, groomed part of the AT that I think I can remember ever. Nice dirt trail, very few rocks, very few roots. Very fast, very nice. Down there is the town of Daleville. Big pitch. So almost to the Super 8, about a quarter mile and it's starting to rain. Kind of love it. So that was 20 miles in 7.5 hours. Oh man, I haven't taken a bath in like 4 days. I'm so ready to get clean. So it's pouring outside. Made it just in time.